in this last video here, we are going to make a little collectible that we can collect in this collect and avoid game. So the eventual end goal of this game is going to be our little player character lizard that moves around the screen. We're going to have a little bug that we can collect, and we're going to have a bird that is the enemy that tries to kill us. So let's go ahead and make our little bug collectible. That's going to be the next thing I'm going to show you. So for that, we need a new scene for our bug. Remember, the scene is kind of our base thing. So I'm going to go new scene. We want this set up just like the lizard, so hopefully you remember how to do that. I'm going to go through this quickly. You can always refer back to that video if you need to. And again, I'm just going to use a rectangle shape here for my bug. I'm going to drag my bug image out. I'm going to reset that up so it's parented the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and I think the collision box there is okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I forgot to rename my base node there, so I'm going to have to manually type in bug or collectible, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to go ahead and fix that renaming of the base node here. Alright, so now I've got my little bug. So what we're going to go over in this one is the idea of a signal. So there's two ways to kind of have things happen with code. The first one you saw in the lizard, and that is to put things in this process. This process is your game loop. It runs every frame. So things that happen in this happen every frame. Now with our bug, when he's collected, we don't want that to happen every frame. We want something that happens when things happen. And so in this case, what we're looking for is when my lizard's blue shape hits my bug's blue shape, I want to have my collectible disappear and reappear somewhere else on the screen. So what we're going to need to do is, of course, add a script so that this can have a behavior. So remember, always add it, I recommend, to your root node bug here. So I'm going to do that. GD script, bug GD. It's good to at least note these things so you know which script is attached where. I'm going to hit create. Again, we don't need the ready function, and we also don't, in this case, need the process function. So I'm going to delete everything up here to extends area 2D. And I'm going to just leave it like that. I'm going to go back to my bug here. And what we want to do now is attach up a signal. So if you don't want something that happens every frame, you want to use a signal. A signal is something, it's like a message passed or a thing that you can say, an event happens that can cause things in your game to happen. So for my bug, I want to connect up a signal that when this touches something else, we do something. So I'm going to go up here by my inspector. You'll see there's one called node. I'm going to collect that, and the signal we want, you'll see signals up here, is this first one, area entered. So I'm going to click that, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hit connect. Now the important things to note here, one is I already had bug selected, so it's selected here. You want to make sure your top level where your script is selected here. So bug, note what this method name is going to be called, on bug area entered. That's okay. Make function is good. Hit connect, and you'll see that it has added something to my script. So this is where we want to do the things we want to have happen when our bug touches the lizard. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. The first thing I'm going to show you is that you can, a very quick way to test if things are working is to use a print statement. So I'm going to say print hit. And I'm just going to put that in there for right now. So it's on our bug there. I'm going to go back to my main scene, go back to my 2D view. I've got my lizard. So I'm going to go ahead and place my bug, remember not bug PNG, but bug scene, not bug GD, bug T scene, the one with the little clacker board. I forget what those things are called. And I'm going to place him next to my lizard here. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. Again, just write small amounts of code and run. And I'm going to position this a little bit carefully so that you can see what's happening down here in the output. So I'm going to go ahead and move my lizard. Now you'll see they're both moving together, and this is because I made a mistake. What you'll notice is bug is parented under lizard, and that is not what I want. I want both bug and lizard to be at the same level as children of main. This hierarchical structure is very common in game engines, so it's something to kind of learn to get used to. So now that I've fixed that, let's go ahead and hit play and see if this works a little better. Alright, so now my lizard is moving without the bug, so I'm going to go over to my bug, and you'll see what popped up down here was a little hit message. So every time the lizard passes the bug, you'll see I'm getting a hit message. That's good. That means it's working. Always good to test that things are working. So let's go back to the bug and the script. And so now I want to find out what I hit. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a space here. And I'm going to say plus area dot get name. And I'm going to give that a sec. You'll notice when it highlights things in red, that usually means there's an error there. So make sure everything is not red. And I'm going to go ahead and, looks like I left my game running, so I'm going to go ahead and hit stop and start again. I'm going to move this so you can see. And now we can see hit lizard. So this is a good way of testing when you have lots of things in your scene to see what you have hit. Because in our case, we don't want the bird to cause the bug to go to a new location, just hitting the lizard. Now, lizard comes from not the name here, but the name that's here. So you could rename it again in the scene. We don't want to in this case, but make note of what you named your player character or lizard in the scene. So let's go back to bug. So now what I want to do is I want to do an if statement. So I'm putting this at the same level as print. You can put multiple things inside your function here. I'm going to do an if statement. If area.getName and then equals lizard. Remember, that's what we saw. Hit a colon. And now what I want to do is I want to have my collectible, my bug, go to a new location on the screen. So we can do that by setting its position. So position.x. And we want that to be a random number. So I'm going to show you how to generate a random number. You can use rand range. And you give it a low value, which in this case is 0. 0 is going to be the left end of the screen, to the right end of the screen. Do you guys remember how to get that? Do you remember how to get that from the previous video? You use get viewport dot size dot x. So I'm going to put that in and give that a second. I left it running again, so play. And now you'll see that it moves to a new position. Now I've only set up the X's on mine, so I'm going to again leave it up to you to do the Y's, and that's going to be good practice for you to figure out how to do this. So once you've got this stuff complete, what you should end up with is your lizard moving in all 4 directions, up, down, left, right, and your bug, when you hit it, moving anywhere on the screen, not just in a horizontal row, but it should always stay on the screen, so you'll want to test that. Once you get all that stuff working, what I want you to do is use the bird here, set up another scene for the bird to be an enemy. And I want you to see if you can get this to move around the screen on its own. And when it hits our lizard, when it hits the lizard should go to a reset position. So like somewhere here in the upper left or wherever it started is a good place for it. All right, good luck.